My name is Brendan Gleason. I'm going to be talking about paying players in the business of college football. A lot of people look at that and say, like, what do you mean college football is a sport, it's not a business? But I beg to differ. If we look here, this is a graphic between years 2000 and 2011. These are the top 10 revenue collecting college football programs. And they've grown from combined $300 million to over $750 million in just like a 10-year span. That's more than a 200% increase in those 10 years. So if you ask me, that seems like a business to me. There's a lot of money involved. They're pulling in a lot of revenue. It's a major business plan. And if we look more specifically, this is Texas, which is the single top revenue collecting football program. They jumped from right around $20 million a year all the way up to over $100 million a year. So that's a really large increase in those 10 years. It's pretty clear that the business of college football is growing largely in part due to popularity, and a lot of that popularity comes from the fact that college football is gaining a lot of publicity from television. So television contracts are a major way in which the college football programs bring in the revenue. If you look here, this is the year 2013, so pretty recently, within the last 2-3 years. And the top 5 television network contracts in all of college sports correlate to the top 5 college football conferences in the country. Those are all the way upwards near $3.6 billion. And why is that a problem? Well, because recently the NCAA passed a rule saying that these top 5 conferences will not only be able to offer their athletes a scholarship, but also the full cost of attendance that comes from Time Magazine. So within the next couple of years, these big-time college football programs will be able to pay their students for not just, or will be able to pay their students for extra things such as like food, going to the movies, buying clothes. Any extra money can go anywhere from $1,000, $2,000, up to $5,000, kind of depending on what the school is, how much money they have to offer, and so not only are those kids going to school for free, but they're going to start to get extra money, and that is a step in the wrong direction, because as students begin to get money, they're going to take the power that comes with that money. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about why the NCAA should not allow schools to pay their players. First of all, I have some numbers. This is the annual tuition for some of the top schools: Notre Dame, Stanford, Boston College, Northwestern. Those are big-time college football schools and also big-time academic schools. And these college football players are getting a scholarship and they're receiving that education for free. So valued at anywhere right around $65,000 a year, these students are getting a top-notch education that not only is worth 4 years of their time, but can really set them up for years into their future down the road so they can get a job when they don't make the NFL. Because really, realistically, maybe 1-2% of the players in college football are going to make the NFL. So everyone needs a backup plan, and for those guys, it's getting a job and living a real life. And the education they're getting from college that they don't have to pay for, that's going to benefit them when they need to get a job down the road. Another reason we cannot pay, or college football players cannot be paid, is because they will just slowly turn into the NFL players that are greedy and care about nothing but money. A big reason why people like college football is because the players aren't paid and they don't really care so much about, they're not playing for the money. And in the NFL, players do play for the money. They play, they go sign contracts where the most money is available. They go play for the teams where the most money is available. And if you start paying college football players, that's what they're going to start to do. They're going to go to the schools where they're going to get the most money, and that's going to ruin the sport as it is. So a big difference for me between college and NFL, this traces all the way back to when I was a young kid. I'm a big football fan. This is why this means a lot to me. And more specifically, I'm a big college football fan. I mean, I like the NFL, I like watching football, but college football was always my favorite. I remember sitting down in front of the TV when I was young. I'd sit down on Saturdays and watch football all day. And the reason why I liked it so much was just because of the excitement, the intensity that the players play with, all the culture, the tradition, the college game values that you really don't get out of the NFL. I remember watching teams like Notre Dame and USC, a big rivalry every single year, and how much there was so much hype with the game and so much intensity and excitement. Same with Notre Dame and Michigan. I remember we had friends down the road who were big Michigan fans, and they'd come over every year to watch the game, and it was a really intense atmosphere, and it was a lot of fun. Other people like watching small schools like Boise State, a team out west who doesn't have a big football program, beating teams like Oklahoma. They won the Fiesta Bowl a little while back on a trick play on the last play of the game, and that's really exciting. People like to watch that. It's fun to watch, and so that's why people love the sport of college football. They love watching the tradition of, like, you see here at Clemson, they run down a field into hundreds of thousands of screaming fans and balloons flying through the air, and there's just everyone dressed in orange, and everyone's so excited and amped up for the game. And that's just something you don't get in the NFL. And I'm afraid as players start to get paid and money starts to become like the main focus, a lot of that tradition and that culture is just going to get pushed to the side as money takes the main stage. One example as to how you can see this is already starting to occur is the Notre Dame-Michigan rivalry is actually no longer. A few years back, Notre Dame joined the ACC as a partial member for football, and when doing that, yes, it was good for Notre Dame. They got a lot of money. They play in the ACC. They get money from the television contract that goes along with that. But as a result, they had to take Michigan off their schedule. And I mean, for me, I was not a fan of that decision just because, like I said, I love watching the game every year. It was exciting. That's a rivalry that goes back decades, and people love the history that was involved in that rivalry. And already you can see, as money starts to become a major component of the sport, schools are starting to get rid of those important things like the culture and the history that have always been a part of the college game. So that's just the start, but as the sport continues to grow, you can see from the graph in the beginning that over the 10 years, the graph showed there was a constant rise in the revenue collecting, and money is just going to continue to become a bigger and bigger part of the sport. And as it does, money is going to become the most important part. And to players, once they start getting money, they're going to take that, they're going to value the money more than they value the sport, and they're going to start playing because of the money rather than playing for the love of the game and playing for the intensity and the excitement and playing to represent their school and represent more than just a dollar sign. So the NCAA really needs to go back to their amateur rule where players cannot be paid at all. And if they want to keep the rule of like players can be subsidized a little bit for extra things, I guess that's fine, but what they really need to do is keep that under control. They can't let that get out of control and let the big time schools just pay the players as much money as they want, because the college game will really be ruined by money as it begins to take over.